Oh, hello. Welcome back. It's your girl, Davi L. As usual, I appreciate you being here. We have a few things we're gonna bake today. I actually have pizza crust on the menu as well as 2 loaves of bread. Okay, we're gonna dive in. As I've said before, this is a household. People are living in the household, so you're gonna hear noise, you're gonna hear people moving. Let them be just like I let them be. Vibe with me. We're gonna get this done either way. I'm excited. I actually feel like pizza has been on my mind for a while now. So to be able to make the crust again, I haven't made a pizza from scratch in 3 weeks to a month, I would say. And that's a long time for me because I like to rotate what I bake quite often. Unless, of course, I don't have the certain ingredients that I need, but the basic things that I need or I rotate them quite often. So pizza dough is super nice to have, and then bread in general, that's something that I make at least once a week. For this recipe, I am making a pretty big loaf of bread, 2 of them. I don't know how big it's gonna be because I'm not gonna do the long loaves, I'm actually gonna do the round one. So let's start off with bread dough. Let's do that. We're gonna do the same amount I did last time in another video if you didn't see it, but if this is your first time watching the videos, then yes, I'm gonna do bread flour. Last time I did all-purpose flour, and that bread was interesting. So let's see what happens here, because look, dough has a mind of its own. I'm literally talking out like this, but dough has a mind of its own. So we're gonna flow and see what happens. I am trusting that exactly how the bread comes out is how it's meant. So let's start off with the bread recipe. Usually I just do 6 cups, but I'm gonna try to actually behave today and not go out on a whim, because I do that. If you didn't know, hello, welcome to the imperfect baking vibes, where I do things and I take chances and I hope for the best, and sometimes it doesn't come out how I expect, but just vibe out anyway. You know what I mean? Baking is meant to be as fun as we can make it, so that's what I try to do for the most part. Also, I have a new bread flour that I'm really, well, no, it is new actually. Yeah, so King Arthur, boom. Fun fact about King Arthur, when I just started baking a couple months ago, I was actually reading their books, and they helped me to really get comfortable baking, because YouTube University is amazing. I will never take YouTube away or doubt that they teach really well, but it's something about having a recipe book in your hands. This is the 3rd cup, Daviel. This is the 3rd cup, Daviel. Focus. Okay. I gotta make sure I keep track while talking, y'all, because I keep blaming y'all, but now I gotta get it together. Because it's not easy talking and doing all this, but we got this. Look, challenging myself. But yeah, King Arthur recipe books, quite amazing. I actually recommend it for any of you that want to get into baking. They actually have a baking school that I've seen online, and I was just like, wait, that means their books are probably fire, and I obviously follow them. And their books helped me to raise my confidence times 10. Like, I don't know, just something about having a book. It's like your mind processes it differently versus a video that's going 10 miles an hour, because you know these shorts be like, and you're trying to keep up. That was the 4th cup just now. So this is 5th, or is this still the 4th? Oh my God, please. Hold on a second. I think this is the 4th cup. Now we're getting into the 5th cup. Whew. Anyway, but yeah, highly recommend their books. I actually got it from the library, and I was gatekeeping for a while, just like holding on to it. And I was like, okay, I need to give someone else another chance with these books, but I wanted to cry. So I will be getting those books as soon as possible, because I really do think that they're great help, honestly. So, by the way, that is my humble opinion. If you do try it and you don't like it, that's okay too, but I actually really enjoy it. Right now, I'm just going off of my recipes that I've kind of created after looking at a bunch of recipes online. So this is kind of what I'm showing you all. But yes, a lot of the base recipes, I think for any and everyone, even people that go to school, it's just someone else's recipe, a teacher's recipe, whoever the case may be, until you're comfortable enough to come up with your own flair, give your own spice, or keep it the same, honestly. That's what's kind of beautiful about the baking world. You just kind of do what you do. Even when you go to a grocery store and you get a box of cake, you're listening to what the instructions tell you, and you kind of make it happen. So it's someone else's recipe. So that's why I happily share the recipe. Look, thank God someone shared it with me, because now I could do it and teach myself for free, you know? So, all right, these are all the cups here. Boom, bam, pow. Now we're gonna do some sugar. I put a little bit more than what I'm supposed to, but that's just who I am. I add a little extra sugar, why not? I do use instant yeast instead of active dry yeast, something that feels more simple to me. I actually really enjoy. So instantly, you just throw it in and you have some fun. So I prefer that. I'm gonna do 2 teaspoons of salt. Okay, somebody's gotta double check. This is a teaspoon, right? Okay, yes. And a little extra just for good measure. And by extra, I just mean like this much, just about. You know, just to add a little more flair. I even have a little adobo here. I might just boom, bam, pow, sprinkle a little something, just for fun. I do want this to have a nice little twang to it. My rule of thumb is to just drizzle a little bit. Okay, so I have 2 cups of water here, and I just used about a half cup right now. And then I'm gonna add some more. Now we're gonna do probably a full cup here. Okay, all over, everywhere. Slowly observe what the dough is doing. Do not be obsessed with pouring all of the water in. I know people do that, but I'm telling you, sometimes that cute little drop that you're like, no big deal, it changes the dough. I've really experienced this in many different ways, so please take my word for it. I let the spoon do the work versus my hands, because your hands will get really sticky. And I washed the surface, by the way. It's very important to wash your surface before moving, but of course flour is gonna get on it, and that's no problem. I have this bowl ready for my pizza dough. Once this dough is done, I rotate over to pizza. You know, we keep the vibes going. But this is actually what a normal day looks like for me. I might double or triple it. I'll make bread, I'll make cake, and I'll make a pizza crust that I put in the freezer. So one that I cook today, and another that I could save for when I want to make pizza. And it has helped quite tremendously, which we're not on the pizza dough right now. But to be honest, the pizza dough is the same type of process. I'm now going to put more water. The dough is combining slowly but surely. Okay, so I'm not gonna overdo it. I'm just gonna continue bringing it together. The shagginess kind of begins. See how it's stringy? See how when bread you pull it apart, you see that shaggy goodness? Yeah, that's what we're getting to. And that's why I have a huge 12-pound bag of flour, because I bake so often. I'm always experimenting. But food never goes to waste. Okay, we eat it, even with the experimentations. For example, something I'm really challenged with typically is like brownies. I've made brownies a few times and they came out like a gooey mess because I'm doing brownies without eggs. And the time I've done it and messed up, I literally used so much cocoa powder in it that I took the gooiness and the parts that feel smooth enough, and I ended up making a cake with it. I scooped out the gooiness and I mixed it in with some water, and I made a cake, a chocolate cake out of it. I did not let it go to waste. And the parts of the brownie that cooked, I use it as like a brittle because it was cooked a lot. I wish I showed you all. It's kind of hard to explain. But no matter what mistake I make, I always find the like silver lining. And I'm like, you know what? I could still use this. Okay, look at this dough. Beautiful. I don't know if you can see that. That's what we want. So now that it's not as sticky or anything like that, I'm gonna start to knead the dough. Before getting all heavy-handed with the water, let's see what we're working with. Right now I'm seeing, okay, I definitely could use a little more water. So I'm gonna sprinkle a little here and a little there and see what happens. We're gonna try to spread it evenly. Everywhere I see is kind of wet, I'm gonna bring the dry parts over. Kneading your dough for at least 10 minutes. But of course, if you have a machine, knock your socks off. But when you are starting out baking, it's so important, in my strong opinion, to get to know the dough and to understand with your own 2 hands what the sweet spot is for you and how you like to manage your dough. Because when it's a machine, the machine is doing it all for you. I'm gonna put a little more water. It's risky, but the dry patches I'm feeling, I'm like, I gotta put a little more. So I'm gonna use the spoon because I already know it's sticky. When your own hands do it, it just is different. I don't know, I just stand by that. But please do not let me steer you away from using a machine. I just think at least once in your life, definitely need the dough by hand for experience, for research purposes, right? Sprinkle a little dough on the counter before placing my bread down. Yeah, Okay, it's coming together. I like this. Here's what we have. Big juicy round thing, feeling strong. Looks good to me. I'm just checking all the areas to see. Part of me wants to keep kneading because when I get into the groove, I'm like, yeah, but we need to move on to the pizza. So now our dough looks good. We are going to oil the bowl because we want our dough to stay nice and hydrated. Flip it over, flip it back, perfect. Now it's a shiny, nice, beautiful dough, okay? Bam, look at her. Oh, okay, we're gonna let her rise. So this is what she looks like in the bowl, and I'll let you see what kind of rise we get. I'm hoping for a really good rise. I mean, the saran wrap don't really fit. Ugh, gosh, so inconvenient, but that's okay. I can put another piece. I have a little small piece actually, so this works out. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this little straggly piece right here. These were pre-cut pieces I had, and then you just get it to stand up. Like to not touch the dough because you want the dough to have space to do what it needs to do. And then bam! Here to proof, it gets a little warm in there, so perfect. Okay, bread, check. Next, like I said, this is a normal day in my life, y'all, so I'm so glad y'all get to see. So, as that dough is rising, so what time is it? 12:34. I usually have my phone, I set a timer, and it's like, okay, it's been rising for an hour, go check your bread, but I'm gonna just keep it, it's fine. So it's 12:30 now, 12:30 p.m. Okay, got it. Okay, I got it. Okay, so the recipe I have says you can use all-purpose flour, but I really want my dough to stretch beautifully. That's the thing with pizza crust. It's like the more stretch you can get, it's kind of the better because you're obviously stretching it to make it this beautiful pie. So I'm going to use bread flour and not all-purpose flour instead. We're gonna do 4 cups. Next, we do need yeast for this pizza. I know some people make pizza. Oh my goodness. I just realized for my bread, I did not put butter. Real life things, y'all. Okay, let's rewind for a second. So pizza, you don't have to wait. So I forgot to put butter. Unless that's okay. All right, this is how we're gonna pivot. Because I forgot butter, what I'm gonna do is after it rises, I have to shape the dough anyway. So while I'm shaping it, I'm gonna make it flat and spread the butter all over it in that way so that it's infused with butter, but it was supposed to be in the beginning. Anyway, this is what happens. You have to pivot when you bake. You just have to take chances and trust that it's gonna work out, because now my timing is gonna be off. If I go back and do that, I have a time crunch that I'm on right now because I gave myself a time crunch. You know what I mean? Sometimes you can't waste time. You know what I mean? You got other things to do. So all good. We're gonna let that slide for now, and I'm gonna be honest about how that ends up turning out. But the butter is definitely, or the margarine, it definitely softens the bread, give it a nice bite. But a lot of people do not use butter, and it still comes out delicious. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm gonna put a little sugar. The yeast, we're gonna do about 2 teaspoons yet again. Salt, we're gonna do 2 teaspoons. Since this is a pizza crust, I do like my crust to have a little extra flavor. So on top of these 2 teaspoons, right, 2 teaspoons, yes. On top of the 2 teaspoons, and that's why I have the adobo here, honestly, because I'm gonna add a little extra flavor of adobo. So this, maybe calculate this as 1.5 teaspoons, maybe. Beautiful. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Gordon Ramsay. That is beautiful. All right, now we're gonna do water. So we need about 1.5 cups of warm water. As I've said already, let's slowly bring it together. So as you're gonna see, making pizza crust and making bread, very, very similar. Every time you make a dough, it's going to look quite similar, I'm not gonna lie. Yeast is optional depending on what you're making. If you're making, for example, pie crust, which I've made many times, you focus more on butter and no yeast, because you don't need a rise per se, but you need that buttery crust, you know? Oh, I'm almost forgetting the oil. I need oil. I was gonna say a little oil in there can help it do something different than the butter / margarine can do. So just keep that in mind as you're baking. Even if it looks similar, certain ingredients really tweaks the results. With the oil, I need 2 tablespoons of oil. This is my vegetable oil, but I just threw it in here because the one we have is huge. Oh, I really overdid it for there, so, ooh. Okay, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. Okay, that's where we're at right now. And actually, pizza became a thing when we were kind of just wanting a lot of pizza at one point. And these days, if you're not having like a deal day, it's like a good 25 bucks for sometimes a cheese pizza. And I respect the prices. However, I'm like, I could do that. That's usually my MO. I could do that. Like, I like to challenge myself. And so yeah, one day I was just like, I can make a pizza. I need tomato sauce, have it here. I need cheese, have it here. I need plant-based meat or vegetables, beautiful. And I did it. And that was really the story. And when you look at money you save, blah, 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 like I said, for me, I really try not to focus too much on the money, although, yeah, sometimes it can be cost effective, while other people may argue it's not cost effective because timing and the energy it takes, plus the amount of flour and the ingredients, fine. But for me, it's valuing the idea that we can make something from scratch, that we can actually do it ourselves and not have to rely. This doesn't mean that I'll never order pizza outside again. Absolutely not. That'd be ridiculous. I absolutely want to try everyone's pizza, everyone's pies, everyone's everything. Like even the other day, I had pumpkin pie that I made from scratch. And then I went to Costco's and saw their huge $6 pumpkin pie. And I was like, I want to try it. And yes, I like pumpkin pie. What about it? Oh, what about it? I love sweet potato pie too, but I love pumpkin pie. A cold pumpkin pie, so good. Especially when it has some flavor. When it don't have flavor, come on. When anything don't have flavor, come on. But, oh, I did put all the water in this one because I'm observing. And I'm like, okay, this does need more water. For sure. And I'm not scared to put a little more flour with this one because technically I'm being a little sketchy here because I want to actually have a dough that is a little bigger than what I usually have. So I might add a little bit more flour. And by little, I literally mean a little. Okay. I didn't even put all of it. But yeah, I was just so ready to just have an option where I can do it on my own, you know, and delivery fees and all of that. I'm not mad at it. Look, why not? And also to know that I can put my own ingredients. I can know exactly what's in the pizza. I can teach myself, teach the people around me how to do it. We can have even pizza night because I know how to make the dough from scratch. I don't have to go to the grocery store and get a pre-made dough. It's just a great feeling. And so I've said this before, regardless of where you're at in life, if you are the richest person ever, if you are someone that is actually, you know, middle class, wealthy, or really struggling and challenged to come up with different things to make at home because you're limited with ingredients, whatever the case may be, it's just good to have this skill. It really is. So this dough is coming together. Boom. I'm gonna place it right on here. Bam. After this, the bread's gonna rise. We're gonna shape it. For the pizza though, we're definitely having pizza night tonight, obviously. Whatever I don't use, so I usually cut this dough in half. And one half will make a whole pie. And the other half will do what it needs to do. I usually cut it depending on how big I get it. Sometimes it's actually challenging to get it to a size I'm looking for. My goal is really to just have a bulk of stuff. This stuff is time consuming, but when you time it pretty good, because you get breaks for the dough to rise and stuff, it actually ends up working out. I'm gonna put a little more flour down. We're getting to that really good sweet spot. A little bit. You just drop it in. Okay. So we're gonna cover it just like we did with the bread. We're gonna mix it around the oil. Make sure it forms somewhat of a ball. And then boom, stretch it out. Make sure it covers, I would say, everywhere. Okay. And I showed you, right? That's what it's looking like. Okay. We'll let this do its thing, work its magic. I'm gonna put it right in here with his friend. Since this thing is getting a little full, remove this. Right here. By the way, I made a cake yesterday. Literally last night. My cute little cake, look at her. With some icing on the top. Yum. I'll have some later. That's one thing with baking. Sometimes I'll make something and I'm like, all right, I move on. I don't even eat it. So, all right, y'all. I'll be back when they're done rising. All right, y'all, we are back. Here is what our bread dough, not pizza dough, but bread dough is looking like. Ooh. Yeah, she rose. She rose to the occasion. Yeah, it's looking good. So we gotta punch all the air out. It's feeling good as I'm doing it. Yes, it's feeling strong. Anyway, I don't need that spoon anymore, so leave that alone for now. Anyway, bread dough, boom. She's feeling strong, she's feeling good, she's feeling juicy. Here's what we're gonna do. Before we start to shape it and everything, I told y'all how I forgot the butter. So, nothing is impossible. We can still make something work. I'm going to slather all over the loaf. So take a little bit to start. I'm gonna just swish it all around. This is how you kind of fix as you go when baking. We're gonna just see what happens, okay? So I'm gonna roll it up. Okay, this is a nice big old loaf, so I'm loving it. Ugh. And like I said, we're gonna just knead it. The butter got it feeling interesting, but we're still in good shape. We're gonna cut it in half. So I'm gonna eyeball it. This is looking like half to me, so it's gonna have to be. We're just making it work out here. We're not wasting dough. We find solutions on our own, okay? Let this rest for a second, since like I said, things just got added to it. I'm just feeling, thank you. If you have a roller, which I do, but it's over there. I ain't going over there, okay? So, we're gonna flatten it out, stretch it out, do what we gotta do. Boom, bam, pow. I sometimes like to roll it a little tighter. There's not as many air pockets. Like that. As tightly as you can. And then you rotate, slide. Because I did the butter thing, I'm gonna let it rise one more time and then just observe and see what happens. So I set those aside. For the pizza crust, we still need to give it about 20 more minutes. So I'm gonna let it do that and then I'll be back. So I decided to pivot. Instead of doing 2 round breads, I'm doing 1 that's round and then I'm gonna do 2 long ones that I typically do. Instead of testing 2 and maybe it not come out the way I want, blah, 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 this is still for the house. So I'm gonna prioritize at least still sticking to the idea by doing 1 of them like that. But I could still also do the other style that I've been doing. This can yield more bread anyway, like I did this the other day. It's about 6 cups of flour. It gave me 3 nice long loaves. I'll insert a photo. That was really helpful to have. So I'm like, you know what? I could do this tester another time when I didn't make it, when I don't make a mistake, but this is how you kind of course correct and edit as you go. Baking is something that can throw a little wrench in your plans, but that's okay. We just kind of pivot and do what we need to do. These make for really cute, like small slices that you can put some cheese on with some butter and enjoy, just like you would with a cracker. Let's score these loaves and then we're gonna move on to the pizza. These are my 2 cute little loaves. For this beauty right here, let's do a cute little like leafy design. I always wanted to do like a real design, but I'm still rusty. Very long process, but this is what I do typically when I want to bake at least 3 things at a time. It could take a good amount of hours, truly, because it just comes with the territory. But it helps me to practice and to really examine what I'm doing. So these I'm gonna move over to the side and then we're gonna get the pizza crust. So let's check out this pizza dough, pizza dough, pizza, 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 pizza. Whoa! This baby done got thick. Look at that. Woo! All right. So definitely left it in longer than I should have. I'm gonna be very honest. Oh, punch it down, punch it down, punch it, punch, 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 punch it down, punch it down, punch, punch, punch. We're gonna now weigh the dough. I'm gonna weigh both of them. 2 pounds exactly, nice. 1 pound exactly. Dang, I did that good. Nice. Okay, great. So it's half. Half and half. Beautiful. What we're gonna do is get it as big as we can. That's the biggest goal here, is getting your pizza dough nice and big. Big body bends, okay? So get it stretched out. Obviously there's the cool methods that I've been practicing. Maybe I'll flex real quick and try them. But we're just gonna stretch it out and get it as stretchy as possible, while also not letting it be too sticky slimy, you know what I mean? So the pros will do this and, you know, let gravity, you're kind of letting gravity take over here. You're not like forcing it to stretch, but you need gravity to give you the okay, basically. So even right now, I'm just gonna let it fall for a little bit. The shape may not be perfect yet. That's okay, give it a second. Right now it looks like a rectangle. That's okay, sometimes rectangle pizza is the best, you know? I've seen a lot of square and rectangle pizza. I used to have that for school, and it was delicious, you know what I mean? Don't be too picky on the shape, but definitely be picky about getting it as wide as you want. Now, if you want a really thick crust, then okay, you can intentionally keep it pretty thick. But for me, I love a nice, thin, crunchy crust, unless, of course, I'm making a specific kind of pizza, then that's when, obviously, I'll switch up my method and stuff like that. But the goal is really to get it as wide as I can. I've been on a little challenge kick, trying to see how big can we go. As I do this, I also need to prepare the pizza sauce and everything, which I did not do yet, so bear with me. You press the sides to lift the crust, but over here you do want as flat as possible. Well, you know, you want a nice crust. You gotta get the dough to move over a little bit technically, because you're like pushing it over with your fingertips, and you're just kind of guiding the dough as you're moving. I'm gonna let it relax for a second, and I'm gonna go prepare the pizza sauce, get the cheese going. I put the other pizza crust on the side. So by the way, the portion I made creates 2 pizza crusts, so that's nice. So this one's gonna go in the freezer, and when I'm ready to make pizza again, which will probably be in like 2-3 days, we'll have that ready, and all I have to do is put the toppings, put the pizza in the oven for 10 minutes, and boom. However, the one we're making today, this is where I have it. Of course, the day that I want to record me doing pizza for you all, I'm gonna try something new, but I'm actually gonna try to bake the pizza on this little thingy, and I heard that's what gets you like a really crispy crust. So I'm gonna put an actual pan that's the size of like a pizza pan, literally. This I'm gonna put in the oven under it in case anything drops or falls, because this is the first time ever doing it. So, you know, we gotta just think ahead in case anything goes down. Not the perfect circle, but pretty damn good if I do this for myself, okay? This pizza sauce is not bought pizza sauce. I made it from scratch, but the tomatoes was canned tomatoes. I put some garlic chunks in here. I put some dried parsley. I put adobo, salt, pepper, spice. I mean, whatever you want, whatever flavor you want your pizza to have, please do it up. Mine is pretty simple. Like I said, I already seasoned the crust, so I'm hoping for the best there. And you're gonna see I play with this camera a lot because I'm trying my best to have y'all see, so bear with me. But I'm gonna go ahead and in a circular motion place this pizza sauce. And the pizza gurus, they all say that less is more. So I'm gonna do my best to not overly saturate this dough. And by the way, my oven was preheated to 475. And of course, before you put any sauce ever on your pizza, you need to taste it, okay? Make sure it's up to par. What it is that you're looking for is delivering. I still need to check the bread See how it's rising. Ooh, all right, I got a sneak peek. It's looking good. Next up, we have the cheese, of course. I had put a whole lot of cheese, and that cheese was melting everywhere. So I'm gonna be as sparing yet giving as possible. It's a little more. I found a few spots, but that's okay. All right, we're gonna move fast with the cheese because the cheese will start to absorb the sauce a little bit. But just get in there and sprinkle and sprinkle and sprinkle. You don't need to drown it in cheese, but a sweet spot that speaks to you. Now, if you're like, I love when my pizza's drowning, that's different. Oh, can you check the fries, please? Oh, okay. Thank you. But yeah, one thing too is I'm making homemade French fries as well. So I literally cut them myself. Maybe I'll show y'all a picture of my plate. So that's also on the frying pan right now since the oven is occupied. Well, about to be. It's about to be. But here we are. Okay, that's what the cheese looks like. Yum. Okay. And then finally, oh, I found a little spot. Hold on. Let me grab that spot. Okay. I like when the cheese really gets to the edge too. That's why I keep going back in. And then last but not least, I have some ground / plant-based meat. So soy. It's soy. I'm gonna use that same spoon that I used for the sauce. And I'm gonna just sprinkle, oh, I get cheese. I'm gonna sprinkle it on over. I remember one pizza I did, I put this meat, soy, crumbled soy, all over. You could barely see the cheese. I was like, okay, never again. I have to be smart here. So, because I could also use this for something else, you know? You don't always have to use all, but less is more. That looks good. Okay. Sometimes when I make eggs, I'll throw these in, stuff like that. So, perfect. Okay, this looks good to me. Looks good to me. Bam! Ooh! Okay, so I'm gonna throw it in the oven, and like I said, I'm gonna check the bottom. Everything looks good. We're gonna throw this in the oven through 475 for literally 10 minutes. Be right back. Finished results are here. Is it still hot? A little bit. Here you have it. I definitely have notes. However, I'm very happy with this. While off camera, I just sprinkled a little more oil. So it was looking a little drier than I wanted. So I just finished it off with some oil. So I need to be mindful of how much oil I'm putting, which was barely any. I just put some in the sauce, but it looked like I needed more for sure. But I'm happy with this, I'm not gonna lie. Even with the notes, I'm putting some parsley. By the way, dried parsley on top. I usually do basil, but I don't know where to basil that. So parsley don't have to do. Okay. I don't like to put too much. Sometimes I overdo it. Come on, come on. All right, perfect. Yummy. It's a little, oh, it's softening. Never mind. The crust was super crunchy when it just came out, but it's much better now. So I'm liking that. As you can see, there's definitely uneven looking crust. That's because, look, I had to do what I had to do. But I'm loving this, seriously. We even got the air bubbles, just like the restaurant. I took it out exactly at 10 minutes, and this baby was done. Like, the cheese done melted, everything looks good. I'm just waiting on the fries. But for now, as this is cooling down a little, even though I don't care for it to cool down, I could eat it at any time. But I want to get the bread in. That's important because I'll forget while I'm eating and all that. So let me do that. So it's over here. This is what we have for the rise on this one. So not huge, but still super cute. I can do, like I said, I can always, I've said this before, but like I can slice it here, open it, make a sandwich. These cute little things that I can do. This is looking good. So I'm gonna spray this one a little more water before it goes in the oven. I brought the oven down from 475 to 375 for the bread. Let's not forget about this beauty, okay? She is here. Boom Bam Pow, loving it. So we're gonna spritz her as well and see what happens. We're gonna trust that it's gonna come out exactly as it needs to. And I also have a pan in the oven that is wet. What? That is wet. That has water in it, okay? Because that steam helps the rise and the spring of the bread. All 3 loaves are ready to go in, so I'm gonna go do that. And I'll show you the results. And we back. We are back. Y'all, I just ate the pizza. Delicious. Delicious. So what had happened was, I finished the pizza before I finished the fries. But then the fries ended up burning, basically. But I ate it up. The char was delicious. Look, hey, I think there were a few pieces I was like, okay, this went overboard. But for the most part, I enjoyed it. The pizza, however, it ended up being like a little soft because I let it sit for a while. Then I put it in the oven for like seconds. I should have left it in the oven longer after I took it out, if that makes sense. So either way, I ate it up. Everyone in this house ate it. It was super good. For the second slice, I actually put it back in the oven so it could get a little more toasty, and the crust was perfect. So I had a small inconvenience, but it was fine. The bread, bow! Look at that. Pretty good, not gonna lie. And my bread's getting lighter. I heard that that's like a big thing in the baking world. When your bread feels nice and light, it means that the aeration aerated and did what it needed to do, and it rose up to the occasion. So, I don't know if that's how it goes, but that's how I'm saying it. Y'all, I'm so full, I'm not gonna lie. I could have recorded me eating when we was watching a show and stuff, so. But, yeah, the bread, very happy with it. Has a little interesting look to it in some places, but that's okay. This feels like my normal bread, still very soft. That's what it feels like. I'm trying to think if I should cut it right now. I'm stuffed, I'm not gonna eat it, but for the sake of the video, I guess I can. Still a little warm, but it's been sitting for like a good hour now. But yeah, very nice. Okay, I'll cut a little piece to see to see the inside. So let's do it. I'm so full, but I'm doing a video, so I gotta commit. You know what I mean? All right, here we are. Oh, looks good to me. Look like bread to me. I don't know about you, but camera look a little crazy. Hopefully you can see that, but very soft. Still has a nice little crust to it, a little umph to it, but it's soft. I feel like the camera is it's a little hard to see, but very nice, very juicy looking. I feel like this one's gonna be the same thing. Even when I touch it, it's still really soft. Wow, and a bit warm too, honestly. So that makes me happy. I literally cannot take it out. I'm so full. But this came out quite well. Very happy with it. Like I told you guys, I know that the butter situation happened, but we made it work. Look, that's what I'm saying. You can't be scared when you make a little mistake. It's okay. We can always improve. So that's the results, okay? I think keeping these 2 styles, having the 2 long ones and this, it gave me a little more bread. The sizing, yeah, it could have been bigger, but I actually like this sizing. I have ideas for this already, so I'm happy with the results, truthfully. So that is a day of baking with me. It is now 5 p.m. A long day, but worth it. And I get a lot of breaks. Like I said, when you're baking, you take breaks, you go handle things. I did all I needed to do throughout the day. So you're not trapped, but you do have to be on it with time, especially if you're baking more than one thing. Like for example, the pizza was at 475 degrees, but then 375 is what I needed for the bread. So I had to wait. So always keep your oven in mind if you're baking more than one thing for sure. So that was helpful for me to do today, and it worked out. So, yay! Thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. You were a real one. Shout out to you. But yeah, I will see you on the next one when the next one comes. I am a very intuitive poster, so you'll see me when you see me. Bye!